Hi, Brandon. This is a real brief explanation of how I would graph that cosine function you were asking about. So the first thing I would do is I wouldn't worry about the graph yet. I would do some simplifying. I would say, okay, well, this equals, and let me get a different color here. Okay, this equals -2 times cosine, I'd factor out the -2, of -2 times x plus 2. And then I would use the fact that the cosine of -u equals the cosine of u. So this equals -2 cosine of 2 times x plus 2. So the function you want to really graph, these are one and the same. This is the same as the original. And it just gets rid of our negatives. And then you can say, okay, well, let's look at the amplitude and period. So the amplitude is, again, it's the coefficient of the cosine, is going to be the absolute value of -2, which equals 2. The period is the period of cosine is 2 pi divided by our b, which is the coefficient of your x. So your period is going to be 2 pi over 2, which equals pi. And then this plus 2 is a phase shift. So the plus 2 is a phase shift, and plus 2 is 2 units to the left. That is what the plus 2 does. Now, let's graph the whole thing. And this may be a little messy, but I'll try my best. So what I start out with is the parent function. So let's start out with the parent function on here. I've got the parent function being y equal cosine x. So at 0, it's 1. At pi over 2, it is 0. At pi, it is -1. At 3 pi over 2, it is 0. And at 2 pi, it's back to 1. So there is my parent function, which is the cosine of x. And then what I do, remember the function itself is, we'll have the final function in green. The final function is going to be y equals -2 times cosine of 2 times x plus 2. So the next thing you want to do is focus on the period. And the period, I kind of do it one step at a time, if you will. So the period, and we'll do that period in pink. The period we said was pi. This is 2 pi. So the period being pi means that everything's going to be cut in half. So instead of 2 pi, it's going to end. So we go from 0. It would go from 0 to pi over 4. Down to, and this will be pi over 2. Okay, 3 pi over 4. And finally, it's going to go back to pi, and that's where it completes one. So that's pi, and that's where it completes one period. So the function y equals 2, cosine of 2x is in pink. And this is the way I graph these. I just look at it one step at a time. Let's focus on the period first. All right, so there is your cosine of 2x. Now let's focus on the phase shift. So everything is going to get moved 2 units to the left. So we'll do that in, let's see what colors I've got available to me. Let's do it in yellow. Okay, so we'll go to yellow. So everything is going to get moved 2 units to the left. So instead of at 0, okay, 0 is going to be moved 2 units to the left. So 2 units, remember this is pi over 2. Pi over 2 is about 1.5. So 2 units to the left would be over about here. So 0 gets moved over 2 units to the left. All right, pi over 4, and pi over 4 is about 3/4. So this is going to go to, pi over 4 minus 2. Again, take that pi over 4, move it over 2 units to the left. So this is pi over 4 minus 2. This point at pi over 2, which is about 1.5, 1.5 minus 2, it's going to be down in this point over here. So it would go down to, it has its sort of apex down there at pi over 2 minus 2. The next point, 3 pi over 4, is where it's back at 0. 3 pi over 4 is about 9/4, about 2 1/4. So it's going to be at about 1/4 right there. So there, that point right there is the 0. That is 3 pi over 4 minus 2. And lastly, that pi, which is about 3, would go to where it ends that period, and that would go to right about there, and that is pi minus 2. Oops, sorry. So now that yellow function is y equals cosine of 2 times x plus 2. All right, lastly, and then you could continue the pattern. You could sort of continue this yellow pattern to get a whole, more periods. So it would just keep going down like that and so forth. Down like that and so forth. All right. So lastly, in green, we got to say, what does the -2 do? And I didn't leave myself a ton of room, but what I will do is say, okay, -2. -2 says where x is 0, it's still going to be at 0. For y, or rather y is 0, it's still going to be at 0. So our final function, okay, so at 0, these points right here, so that point and that point, -2 times 0 is still 0. -2 times 1 takes me down to -2, which is going to be down here. Okay, -2 times -1, so I'm looking at this pi over 2 minus 2, takes me up to +2, which is up here. We're back at 0. Lastly, -2 times +1 would take me down to there. And now I've got my function. And this green one is the graph that I'm looking for. And then at 0, it goes down to there. And lastly, it goes down to there. And there is a graph of -2 times cosine of 2 times x plus 2. All right, hope that helps, and keep working. Don't get too frustrated. Keep working, and you will master it. All right, take care, and I wish you the best. Bye-bye.